Hello, my friends. I know I'm a little bit late for all of the end of the year wrap-up sort of content, but I'm here wanting to wrap up 2024 as a reading year. I don't have a lot of stats prepared. I don't want to get into stats. I just kind of want to do a quick little Spotify Wrapped style review of my 2024 reading. 2024 was a shit year for me personally. But reading wise, even though I did not make my Goodreads goal, and we'll get into it in a bit, I didn't read as much as I wanted to, nor did I get to everything I wanted to, what I wanted to, but I still read some of the best books that I've read. In fact, I haven't even put together my top 10 list because I don't know how I'm going to put together my top 10 list because I read so many good books this year. So in a lot of ways, reading wise, it was a good year. I may do a visual running on the side of my Goodreads year in books on the screen if I feel like it. We'll see. But this year I read 57,622 pages, with the biggest month being May. I don't know what was happening in May. I don't even remember. It wasn't a readathon month. But in May, I read a total of 7,448 pages. So on Goodreads, it does say that I read 158 books. I actually read 159 books this year. My goal for the year was 175. Didn't quite make it, which is fine. Which is ridiculous when you hear my my actual goal for 2025, because it's even higher. But why not? I love to shoot for the stars. Anyway, my top genre, of course, was fantasy. It's always fantasy, but I think I will share one stat with you because I think that this is the most interesting stat of the year, and that is the genres read this year. So this year I decided to go ahead and separate out romantasy from fantasy and romance, and I read a ton more in the romance category in general than anything combined. So as you can see, the biggest part of the pie here is the 47 fantasy books that I read, for a total of 29.6% fantasy books. Then the next highest is romance. So that is contemporary romance. That is 33 books read, for a total of 20.8% of my reading for the year. And then romantasy, see, I read a total of 32 romantasies this year, it being 20.1% of my reading this year. So if you combine romantasy and romance, I have read more romance than anything else, and this is the only time that this has happened in my reading life. Has been 2024. I think I just really needed the escapism this year because of how shit it was, and escapism for me was the romance and the romantasy. I don't know what 2025 is going to bring, but I definitely think that my reading is going to continue to skew towards romance going forward. It's just what I've been loving lately. I don't see myself coming out of that anytime soon. So I just thought that was a really interesting stat. I had to share that with you. So we have fantasy, romance, romantasy. Horror is the fourth highest read genre, with 19 horror books read this year. And then thriller is number 5, which is so weird. I don't usually read a ton of thrillers, and it's usually more mystery. I do separate out my mystery and thriller. I just like to see it visually that way. But I didn't read any mysteries, and I think some of those thrillers are like cozy crime, cozy thrillers, which I put them in the thriller category because they don't have a mystery aspect. It's just cozy murdery times. So that goes in thriller, and that I've been loving a lot of that lately, so that makes sense that that is the 5th highest genre. I read from 114 different authors this year. I don't know, I must have tracked this last year, but I just can't remember, and I'm too lazy to look up the stat right now. But I feel like that is a higher number than usual. I'm not sure. I did binge a lot of different authors this year as well. But my top author of the year, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, but I went on a huge T. Kingfisher binge this year. It happened, I think, like throughout March and April and May and possibly even June. I read so much T. Kingfisher. I became obsessed. I love T. Kingfisher, but I was determined to read through like her entire backlist. I didn't get to everything because she has written so much, but I read a total of 8 books by T. Kingfisher this year. Some of my absolute favorites from her have been Sword Heart, if not my absolute favorite by her is Sword Heart. I really love Sword Heart. Paladin's Faith, is it? No, wait. Paladin's Hope is the first book in that series. Love the Saint of Steel series to pieces, but that first book, no, it's Paladin's Grace, isn't it? I think it's Paladin's Grace. Holds such a special place in my heart because Stephen and Grace are like my favorite couple of the year, possibly, and I am obsessed with them, and I'm obsessed with that series, the world that she created, her humor, the dark atmosphere of it all, like everything was just absolutely perfect. So Sword Heart, Paladin's Grace, but really the entire Saint of Steel series, and then Bryony and Roses, which was a Beauty and the Beast retelling that just ended in a way that made me so happy, like just satisfied my inner child. So yeah, 8 books by T. Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher is definitely my top author read of the year, followed by J. Bree, a total of 6 books by J. Bree, because I read the entire Bonds That Tie series. I read that entire series this year. There were 6 of those in total. I read all 6 of them. I had a great time, super fun. The series and the author that introduced me to Why Choose Romance, and now I am obsessed with Why Choose Romance. Followed by N.K. Jemisin. I read the entirety of Inheritance trilogy, as well as the short story that goes after that. The third book in the series is 100% gonna be on my top books of the year. Love N.K. Jemisin, I always have. I didn't think, because the Broken Earth trilogy is my favorite from her, and I didn't think going back I was going to enjoy as much her previous works, but the Inheritance trilogy really surprised me in a good way. After N.K. Jemisin, I guess the next most read author is Ali Hazelwood. There were a lot of different authors that I read like 3 books from. I binged series this year, which is great for me. So I had, you know, 3 books by multiple authors, but I think Ali Hazelwood is the one that is the only author that I read 3 or more books from this year that weren't a part of series. So Ali Hazelwood has to be the next most read author, and I think that's pretty much it. It's T. Kingfisher, J. Bree, N.K. Jemisin, and Ali Hazelwood. Those were my 4 most read authors this year. Although I did also read 3 books from Olivia Blake, because I read her YA that is written under a different pen name, as well as Alone with You in the Ether, as well as the 3rd book in the Atlas series. I guess the last thing that I want to go over really quickly is just my star ratings. So my average star rating for the year is 3.7, I believe, which is lower than it's been in past years. Like I said, I read a lot of great books this year. I really, really did. But I also read a lot of not great books this year. I think the next video you're going to see from me is my worst books of the year. So we'll get into all of that then. But like, it's been difficult. But overall, I feel like I gave out a lot of 4 stars. 4 stars was my most given rating. I gave a total of 57 4 stars out this year and 41 5 stars, which is amazing to have so many. 25.8% of the books I read this year were 5 stars. Gave out 42 3 stars, 16 2 stars. That's what has skewed my average rating so much, because I don't usually give out that many 2-star reads. But we had 16 this year. And then unfortunately, we also had 3 1-star reads. I think I was a lot more open and honest, if I'm being honest, with ratings and giving things lower ratings instead of just trying to give books higher ratings when I didn't feel it. So that overall shows kind of where I was at. We'll see what 2025 brings. I'm excited for it. But yeah, that's gonna be it. That is my little wrap up of my 2024 reading. I hope you enjoyed. We will get into goals and stuff for the next year and probably wrapping up my 2024 goals, which I did not accomplish a single one. I'm pretty sure. I would love to know how your year of reading went in 2024. I would love to know if you accomplished those goals, especially your Goodreads goal. Did you get to as many books as you wanted to this year? I mean, I know the answer is always no for us book nerds, but did you complete your Goodreads goal? Let me know in the comments. If you don't have anything to say, leave me a firework emoji. It is the new year, new books. Excited for what's to come. That's gonna be it for me today. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.